Hi, it's Christine. Coffee time and my story part 2. Hi, I'm Christine L. Conroy. Welcome to the Happy Stuff and Fluff channel, a channel for women over the age of 50 who are getting happy and growing younger. Okay, before I start to talk proper, a couple of things to say. First of all, if you've just landed at this video, you need to watch part 1, which is Does Every Cloud Have a Silver Lining? I'll put a link to it here, there, you know where. Watch that first and then come back here. The other thing which is I'm excited about is the Happy Stuff and Fluff's exclusive private members group is now up and running, or our Facebook group. So when you've watched this video, shoot over to Facebook, and if you just put Happy Stuff and Fluff in the Facebook browser, I think 2 pages will come up. One's a fan business page, but the second one is the Facebook club. So it will ask you a question. It's going to ask you, are you subscribed to the Happy Stuff and Fluff channel? Which of course you are. And if you're not, you need to subscribe now, and then you can join us on the Facebook club, and we can get that up and running. So if you haven't already subscribed, please do that, and you'll get 2 for the price of 1. Okay, so the Twilight Zone then, let me continue there. I mean, I'm not going to go into another lengthy live story thing, but there is one story I want to tell you about because it's really what got me into to coaching. Positive psychology I've been interested in for a long time. Going to their first World Congress, in fact, in Philadelphia. I was so keen, and I'm still so keen. But the coaching thing, I came to education late, so I went back to university and got myself a degree. I think I was probably about 40 or thereabouts. Actually, I'm going to do a video on starting again, I think. Maybe more than one, because I've started again more than once in my lifetime, and I think it might be interesting to talk about. Anyway, so I went back to education, and it took me a while. It took me 4 years part-time, but I did finally graduate. And not long after that, not long after I graduated, I was invited to a local university to do some lecturing. Now, never in a million years would I have thought that I would teach, but I thought, oh, well, I have nothing to lose. I'll give it a go. Now, I'm making that sound easy. I was actually terrified. And talk about being thrown in at the deep end. My first lecture was in a huge lecture theatre to a group of 100 students. I'll tell you the story of what happened there another time. But long story short, I absolutely loved it. I loved the subject matter, which was my first degree is in art and design history. And I loved the lecturing, and I loved the students. One day a student came to me and said, I'm sorry I wasn't in your lecture yesterday, Christine, but I couldn't get out of bed. And I was just about to say, well, I couldn't get out of bed this morning, but look, I'm here for you. But I looked at his face and I could see he wasn't joking, and nor was he being flippant. So I said, come and see me after the class, which he did, and he had some of his friends with him. That conversation set the ball rolling, really, because I was quite shocked. I mean, not only was he clinically depressed, but from the way they were talking, there were quite a few other students in the group who'd been diagnosed with depression. So when we were next all together in a kind of tutorial guise, I brought this subject up, and the hands that went up to, for people who were struggling with some kind of issue, there must have been 60% of them struggling in one way or another. If quite a few of them were clinically depressed, some of them were disillusioned with life, some of them had other stress-related issues, some of them didn't know what they were doing at university at all. They only went because either society expected it or their parents expected it, but they didn't want to be there and they didn't really know what they were going to do afterwards. So as I say, I was shocked. Now, there was, at the time, I had three teenagers of my own, three young people of my own, all who went through the university system. But my daughter, of course, going through her teenage life with only one arm. Now imagine the self-esteem issues or the identity issues and all of those things that we dealt with. And incidentally, my daughter is one of the most well-balanced young people I've ever met. And so the boys, actually, but Charlotte in particular, because obviously, you know, that's when they're very self-aware teenagers. So, and then here I was with students who were so-called normal, and I don't like that word either, but it fits the bill here, with clinical depression and all kinds of other issues such as this. But, you know, everybody's problems are relative to themselves, and I know that. And so I was determined I was going to help these students. So I started to weave, because as I've said to you before, I've been interested in the human condition all my life. I was studying positive psychology at the time, and as I say, I have three teenagers of my own. So I started to weave various kind of personal development issues into the class. And then, in a kind of tutorial guise, in my lunch hour, I used to have these groups where the whole conversation was about personal development. I came to realise that if I was going to help these students, it wasn't teaching them art and design history. It was helping them with personal development. So I went to my supervisor, manager, can't remember what her title was, and told her what I wanted to do. And she said, "It's not your job." I'm like, "Okay, so whose job is it then?" Well, the university has a counsellor. Well, quite apart from the fact that it was something like a 6 months waiting list to see the counsellor, these students didn't need counselling. They needed personal guidance. They needed coaching guidance. They needed personal development conversations. So I went away and I thought, how am I going to convince the university to let me do this? Maybe if I have a formal qualification. And also, you know, I wanted to be sure I was helping the students as effectively as possible. So I went off and did an intensive course in coaching so that I could better help the students. The university didn't ever fund, which was very short-sighted, you know, because we know that happy students learn better and learn faster. And the dropout rate at this particular university was quite high. But there you go. So that didn't happen. And I found myself at home. Because whilst I was lecturing, I took the higher education PG certificate. So I had a qualification in higher education and one in coaching, and I was at home. But you know, how amazing is it when you look back and you'll have stories like this. And if you do, please tell them, because I love to hear about these stories. So I was out of work. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do next? That's when my sister started to get progressively worse with her cancer. And I was there for her. I was able to be there. I mean, she only had to hint that she had an issue or a problem or pick up the phone and I could be there. I could drop everything and be there for her. How amazing was that timing? And I'll be forever grateful for it. That I was able to be there for her. And as I say, I'm sure you've got stories like that. So that's what happened. I continued, obviously the book was being written the whole time. I was continuing to study positive psychology. But something I learned at university and around that time is I really enjoy the group dynamic. Because what I did then, I started to do one-to-one coaching with adults when I'd left the lecturing. You know, obviously I needed an income. And it allowed me to fit around working with Pat. That's my sister. And but as much as I enjoyed doing the one-to-one, I really missed that kind of group dynamic and wanted to reach. I was frustrated that I wasn't reaching enough people quickly enough with the message. The book helped me to do that. Because that led me to doing speaking engagements where I could speak to larger audiences, which I love doing and I still love doing. And now, of course, this YouTube channel, which is allowing me to speak to you guys, which I love, love, love. I'm absolutely loving it. And I love your comments and that kind of interaction. And I know the Facebook club is going to help us to do that too. So share me with as many people as you want to share me with. If you think someone else would benefit from hearing anything I say, please feel free. In fact, I'd love you to do that. Share the videos with them. Now, in the meantime, questions have been coming in about the Twilight Zone, and I'm not ignoring them. Have I said that already? I don't know, but I will be doing a video on a kind of question and answer. I'm just going to wait to see if any more questions come in before I put that together. So I'm going to do that. I could tell you lots more. Actually, you can help me there. When you sit down to watch a video, how long do you sit down for? Do you give yourself 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour? Because I could talk to you all day, but of course I only want to talk if there's somebody listening. So that would help me if you tell me how long you generally sit down with a coffee to watch. Incidentally, I'm going to do a video on coffee as well. I keep getting in trouble for drinking too much, and I've got a bit to say about it. Okay, right, well, I'm going to leave it there then. Head on over to Facebook, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you over there. In the meantime, have a great week, and remember, on the Happy Stuff and Fluff channel, we are getting happy and growing younger. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. And so, it took me 4 years, but finally I graduated. Not long after that, did I say I graduated with a first class degree? No? Oh. Anyway, not long after that I was it was a first class honours degree. So, where was I? Oh yeah, not long after that I was invited to lecture at a local university. Oh, did I say actually it was a first class honours degree?